before settling into an orbit around the ghostly melee. Ooh. Then a third apparition appeared, this one of a woman in a red dress. She tried separating the men, but in the fracas was thrown to the floor. She disappeared as she landed, and the two men followed her, and all the objects in the room returned to their original positions.
I feel like if you are a woman and you don't want to die, never wear a red dress.
No.
It's always a red. It's never like a nice purple or like a blue gown.
It hides blood. That is the point of a red dress, is that it hides blood. It's supposed to be like when you get stabbed, but they can't see you, but you're still at your own wedding. And I think the woman in the red dress was Emma Watson.
Ooh.
And that's a blind items revealed. And why does this haunting sound like the Haunted Mansion?
It could be.
Well, Ben, I know what you're thinking right now. What are you thinking?
Now I'm thinking about Eddie Murphy in The Haunted Mansion, which was a comedy classic.
Well, I know it's in the back of your mind. Just get rid of the skulls.
Get rid of the skulls.
If the skulls are the problem, get rid of the skulls.
Oh, I was thinking skull therapy.
And they did try to get rid of them, even going so far as to throw them back in the same ditch where they were found. But the ghosts were now firmly anchored in the farmer's bedroom.
Tell me, is this my dressing room? I'm still in character. I won an Oscar for this. I can't do a Jack Sparrow impression.
I don't know. I don't think you're drunk enough for it.
Well, finally, the skulls were set on the family Bible, which was apparently large enough to hold 2 full-size human skulls.
Wow.
The activity stopped for a few months, so the family decided to try again with using them as decoration.
Okay.
And the activity started right back up where it left off, but the tenor of the haunting changed quite a bit the second go-round.
What is a creepier paperweight? The booby weight that Jerry Brudos was using, or these skulls? I don't know.
Obviously, the booby weight is much creepier, because I would have a skull paperweight. Marcus would have one. Marcus has a raccoon penis bone in his house.
This is not how you win this argument. You guys are extremely creepy.
Well, I just want to say we have stuff in our homes. Marcus has got certain paraphernalia in his home that makes him super creepy, and I have stuff. Yeah. I don't know if I should even reveal the stuff that I have in my home that has to sit in a drawer because Natalie won't let me mount it. But it's not human breasts.
I see.
It's just stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've got no less than 6 skulls in my apartment.
Okay.
3 cow, 1 horse, 1 deer.
You know,
so I guess that's 5.
Yeah, so go fuck yourself.
No, wait, I have 7 because I've also got a deer and a coyote.
And I do want to point out that was an unprompted reveal, Marcus.
But this is Marcus. Can I also ask this? In your skull roundup, why don't you also list you and Carolina's?
Because we don't stay in the house.
It has to be detached
in the house all the time. Then yes, that would be 2 more skulls in there. No, but our skulls move around.
It has to be a detached skull.
My skull is here right now.
It's a creepier reveal to say 9 skulls and end with you and Carolina's. Like that's where they'll end up when you die.
Well, back to the haunting. The second go-round, as I said, the tenor had changed quite a bit. The fighting had apparently been resolved as the sounds of an argument were replaced by the heavy breathing of a man mid-coitus.
Man, if it sounds anything like me, then it sounded like... Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. You're doing good.
Just a farmer who had a big dinner trying to fit into yesterday's pants, huh?
Well, when the family again looked into the room, it was pitch black, but the sounds of copulation were obviously coming from the skulls themselves.
Awesome, like Bluetooth speakers.
Now, evidently something had been resolved because from that point forward, the haunting died down. Sure, there were some intermittent grunts, groans, and moans, but only in sporadic bursts rather than a full-on push.
What do ghost couples fight about? They don't need food. They don't need anything.
Well, gossip around town was that many years before, a young farmer had fallen in love with the daughter of a local lord, which the lord, naturally, did not approve of. A scuffle between the young farmer and the woman's brother occurred, and the lover was accidentally killed by a blow to the head.
That's not an accidental kill. That's a murder.
Involuntary manslaughter.
Yes.
Manslaughter I would say manslaughter at the most. It's not first degree or second degree murder. That's manslaughter. Did you ever see Con Air? Did you ever see Con Air?
Yes, of course I've seen Con Air, and I'm an American.
But listen, all right, you have to understand this. When you become a senator, you're going to have to learn how to navigate around this. Manslaughter's very different than premeditated murder.
I
always
understand
remember that. That's your go-to. It's always accidental. She slipped off the boat.
I understand.
Like you say stuff like that.
The Natalie Wood argument, or when Ted Kennedy murdered that woman with his car by leaving her to die. Yes, I understand.
Matthew Broderick. Matthew Broderick did the same thing.
Yeah, I just learned that recently.
Yeah, he killed a man.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, Vince Neil too.
Really?
Yeah.
He Matthew Broderick also sits with it with a heavy guilt. I actually literally went drinking with him one evening during when we shot a pilot together, and he brought it up several times over a very full glass of whiskey.
Wow. Well, he's a good guy then, quite frankly.
Good guy.
Well, because I'm telling you, Ted Kennedy would brag about it.
Yeah. Well, the girl in the story, quote unquote, died of grief soon after. And out of respect for their love, the local lord had the two lovers buried together. But just how the skulls and nothing else ended up in a ditch is still a mystery.
And by the most serious decree, I say that these two young lovers shall be buried together in most romantic ceremony. Lop off the heads, though, because I want to see everyone cry just once I am a lord.
Yeah. I'm also sure that whoever put them together in that coffin did some creepy stuff, pushing,
Yes.
and all that nonsense. Look at it. Get it.
In death, it's fun to see that everybody gets the girl of their dreams, and you just put one inside the other. Grigor, get up out of there.
Get
You
outta
are
here.
a trainee. You are a gravedigger trainee.
Get out.
Well, our next story is called Fanny of Cock Lane.
Very good. Very much in our wheelhouse. Very much in our wheelhouse of humor.
For decades, 20 Cock Lane in London was known to be a hot...
I hope no other men move in here. We'll have to call it 21 Cock Lane. We have to keep on changing the damn name of the lake.
Well, 20 Cock Lane had been known for decades as a hotbed of poltergeist activity, as most old buildings in England are.
There were literally full poltergeist police officers in England. It's all ghosts. It's
Yes.
mostly ghosts because they're constantly paying for the crimes that they did. They invented imperialism, sorta.
Kinda.
You know what I mean? They
They
definitely
perfected it.
took it to the next level.
Yeah.
They were boat-based. Any culture that's boat-based is going to have a lot of ghosts.
Well, one haunting in particular at 20 Cock Lane involved a young servant named Fanny. And did you guys know that Fanny is now a slang term for vagina in England?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Did you know that, Ben?
It seems like they got to get it fixed then. I just, Fanny, it just does not seem...
It's vulgar. Is
it vulgar?
Fanny is known to be a vulgar word.
Are we saying swear words?
When we say fanny pack, the English have a chuckle at us.
Really? Because that assumes that they're using their vaginas as a purse.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, my
like it was
goodness.
filled with food for the winter, like they are hamsters. Big upside-down
wow.
hamsters. Now, also, yes, because Fanny's supposed to be naughty.
Really?
Like, Fanny's like a pussy.
Yeah.
It's a pussy. And so, like, Fanny of Cock Lane is, for Americans, it's like saying pussy of Dick Lane. You know what I mean?
I see. So do they call them pussy packs? I'm confused.
Well, they call them bum bags.
Bum bags, so they wear them sort of near the rear there.
Yeah, I don't know where exactly they wear them, but I do know that they call them bum bags.
Interesting. Pro wrestlers love fanny packs. Don't know why.
Well, they don't have pockets.
Ah, that's right.
Well, Fanny served at the pleasure of a tenant at 20 Cock Lane named John Kent. Now, Fanny was a superstitious girl from the countryside looking for a taste of big city living and was not the brightest bulb on the tree.
Hey, tell me, when you moved to the city, does everybody go everywhere on slides?
I heard back in the day that everybody went everywhere on fun slides in trolley carts. And everybody's got a butler. Is it real?
That's right.
Or am I the butler now?
You're the butler.
Because I don't know. If you don't have a butler, are you then a butler?
if for every 10 people there's a butler and you don't see a butler around, you're the butler. That was a classic 20 Cock Lane joke.
Yeah, thank you very much. I gotta tell you, I'm quite pecked. I'm quite nannered. I'll need quite a bit of a snack. Thank goodness I smashed all this stuff inside my own fanny pack here. I got jerky in there.
Well, by the time Fanny started working at 20 Cock Lane in the 1750s, it had already been a long-established haunted house. And after she started working there, Kent told her there was only one way he knew of to keep the peace.
Huh, how is that?
Yeah.
He said that the only thing that stopped poltergeist activity was copious amounts of dirty, dirty sex.
What?
Huh. How
Weird.
convenient for the man.
Well, unfortunately for Kent, his wife was no longer up for ghost busting, if you know what I mean.
Sex.
Yeah, well, everyone knows what you mean.
So Fanny had to take her place. Kent convinced Fanny that if she wanted to live a fright-free life, they needed to have sex as often as humanly possible.
But what do I do with my granola balls that are inside myself? So I move them around to my bum packer. I've got my bum pack back behind it. I'll just put him in my ass then.
Oh, my goodness. A human Pez, I guess.
Well, at first, she actually enjoyed the seemingly supernatural power of their affair, but she got pretty bored with the whole damn thing pretty fast. When things started to slow down and Fanny started making excuses as to why she wouldn't sleep with Kent, he told her that the spirits had spoken to him and had been disappointed by the lack of sexual energy in the house.
I have a feeling that this Kent guy wears aviators because he sounds like David Koresh.
Kent also said that if the affair didn't recommence, then the haunting was sure to start back up. Kent even took it a step further, saying that if that happened, then the person refusing the sex would be responsible and would die soon after.
Man, it sounds like he's making all this up.
Yeah.
Just to have sex with the new Fanny on the block.
And then kind of threatening her life if she doesn't.
Well, Fanny stood strong, as by this point, she had figured out that most likely Kent had been the source of the haunting all along.
I'm clever enough. I'm clever enough. Don't say I'm not. Sometimes I put my bonnet on upside down, but that's also just because I got things on my mind.
Well, Kent only agreed to end the affair after Fanny threatened to tell his wife about the whole thing. But as she was leaving, Kent said,
Be it as you wish, but mark my words, young woman, you will be dead within the month.
and she was!
Wow.
Whoa.
I can't believe he called that, given their life expectancy was exactly the age that she was.
Well, the rumor mill said that John Kent had poisoned her with arsenic, but he was never brought to justice for his crimes. All we know is that when Fanny's body was exhumed by ghost hunters in the 1800s, the body was remarkably well preserved, a telltale sign of arsenic poisoning.
Oh, look at right here, Barberry. It seems right here within her own Fanny, she's got a full red apple. It must be arsenic. Oh, that is a very, very, very good deduction there, Janyata. Yes, my name is Janyata. So do you mind, now that we have finished our investigation, can I... No. Do not touch the corpse. I am sick and tired of your diddling these corpse.
A lot of wild stuff happening there. Do you think the ghost hunters were annoying like modern day ghost hunters?
Just
Where
sitting
they
there screaming at the
just
corpse?
Screaming at the ghost, yeah.
Wake up!
Wake up!
If you're not a ghost, wake up then.
Yes, we have some ghost hunters that listen to us. We like them, but I want to see friendly ghost hunters.
Yeah, like, hey, buddy.
Come on now, bud. Hey, man. I got a fantasy football league. We need one more player. Who wants in?
Yeah, you just sit down with the rest game and you set it for 4, but you only have 3 people there. And then we're like, let's see if he takes Kamchatka.
Well, as an interesting postscript to this story, the next person who rented the house, a one Mrs. Elizabeth Parsons, also reported poltergeist activity. Word spread, and soon all in London knew what was going on in 20 Cock Lane. And that's when a writer named Samuel Johnson took it upon himself to investigate. He bound Elizabeth and her children's arms and legs and suspended all the furniture in the house from ropes from the ceiling to see if the poltergeist activity continued.
Between this guy and the Warrens, who is the dumber poltergeist detective?
I would say the Warrens because they didn't have the fun of getting to tie up a whole family.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, unfortunately for the family, the noises stopped during the binding, and Elizabeth Parsons was jailed for fraud.
She was jailed?
She was jailed. She was jailed. She was bound against her will, and then for her punishment, she was tied up again and hung from the ceiling again.
That doesn't make any sense.
Today's last podcast on the left is brought to you by the new Paramount Pictures film, Mother. A couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive at their home, disrupting their tranquil existence. From filmmaker Darren Aronofsky, director of Black Swan and Requiem for a Dream, Mother stars Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, and Michelle Pfeiffer in this riveting psychological thriller about love, devotion, and sacrifice. Mother is darkly intelligent, well acted, and rumored to be one of the most controversial films to come out of Hollywood in a long time. It's the kind of smart and scary psychological thriller director Darren Aronofsky is known for, and is sure to generate a lot of discussion after the credits have ended. Mother is out in theaters September 15th. Go see it, and don't miss the movie everyone will be talking about. That's Mother, out September 15th. Coming to a theater near you. Well, the next story occurred in Newstead Abbey, said to be one of the most haunted places in all of Britain. This one is called the Marriage Bed Monk.
Ooh.
It's said that the source of these hauntings were a group of monks who lived there for 400 years and were secretly members of a quote-unquote magical inner brotherhood.
They made love to each other.
Yeah. Or they jokingly called it the Flatulence Society, and they just sat in a room farting.
Now, when the monks were ousted by Henry VIII, they placed a curse upon the abbey, and from then on, the house was beset by apparitions of monks dressed in black, roaming the halls. The monks were often seen as portents of doom, for if a person was sick and a monk appeared by their bedside, it was believed that that person would die soon after. But deathbeds weren't the only beds the monks popped up beside.
Thank you for making it sexy, Marcus.
I guess so, yes.
The episode is called Sexy Gifts.
Part 2.
Part 2.
That's right. What's the name of the old guy there in Everyone Loves Raymond, the father? You know, he's a famous...
Peter Boyle?
They all look like Peter Boyle.
Nothing makes a new couple hornier than the grim visage of Peter Boyle staring at you.
Exactly.
And that's where the monks showed up. Huh. They were known to enjoy the company of newlyweds, particularly on the night of their first sexual embrace. Ugh. One young man said immediately after his first big finish.
Oh, my goodness. Did he call it the big...
small finish.
Yeah, please.
Oh, come on. Yeah. First time you have sex, you're telling me you didn't have a big finish.
I think they're all the same finish.
Well, after his big finish, blood started to uncontrollably squirt from his penis.
Well, now, honestly, that is a big finish.
That is a big finish.
That's a big finish, yes.
But when he put his hands down to the general area of the squirting, the blood disappeared. And when the man looked up, he saw the mocking smile of a monk, who then disappeared into the darkness.
You just got monked.
Oh, my goodness. The Ashton Kutcher, great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of Ashton Kutcher, the first prank show of all time. You just got monked. So what's the show all about, man? Just like an elevator pitch.
I sneak into the rooms of a newlywed couple just before the moment of true consumption. And then I make blood spurt from the erect member, and I laugh my life of 1,000 dead years.
Ding! Oh, this is my elevator floor. It might not be great for HBO, but you should go talk to Vice. I think that might be good for Vice
But
Media.
then I just say you just got monked.
You know what? I'm actually not even going to get off on this floor. Let's talk further.
It's all in the title.
Well, another couple said that when they finished, they found they could not separate their genitals from each other, held, quote, as if bound by unseen tethers.
You should see what we are going to do to a young Mr. Justin Bieber, who has the body of a woman playing Peter Pan and the face of a woman playing Peter Pan. You are bound by leathers. You just got monked.
You got monked. You know, you don't have the body for it whatsoever, nor really the look. But you sound like Pinhead from Hellraiser. You do a great Pinhead.
What about that one Cinnabite that was in, I think, like Hellraiser 3, the one that had the glasses?
Yeah, I always called him Cinnabun.
You're the cutest.
I'm a Kathy. Hey, what day don't I like?
What?
I actually don't like a lot of days.
Diet is just die with a T at the end of it.
Oh, yeah, the fat one shot CDs out of his face.
I love that guy.
I love that guy, too.
Yep.
You could play him, Henry.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. My career is going to go great. Things are going great.
Well, the couple who were bound together, they screamed until a servant came, at which point the spell was broken. And then there was the time a whole order of monks showed up all at once to haunt a couple, or maybe the monks were there to haunt the sex monk.
That is very thick. That's a lot of layers.
Yeah. So the sex monk is dead now.
No, the sex monk has always been dead.
No, the sex monk is dead.
Well, the sex monk is a ghost.
That's the sexy ghost.
You misunderstand everything.
Yeah, sometimes.
So on their second night of marriage, a young couple had just undressed and were ready to get down to business. Just then, a monk appeared in the corner, followed by a terrible smell.
You just got monked.
You been monked.
That's also, I need to come up with another term for when I fought.
The couple's attention was then drawn to the floor where pools of an unknown white sticky substance had started to gather and bubble.
That's what you're going to do soon, inside of her, when you make love to each other. Will you please show me how?
And before the couple had time to react, another monk walked out of the walls. That monk was followed by another, and another, and another, 2 abreast, until the room was full of monks.
Is this not the meetup? Is this not what we're supposed to? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. This is no room. Oh, no room whatsoever. Oh, no, absolutely. We're tip to tip in here. We're tip to tip. Excuse me. This is most impolite. I'm so sorry. Were you two trying to make love to each other?
Isn't that wild? We
Oh,
were.
that's most
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. Kind of ruined it there.
Well, when the room was filled with monks, the sex monk got extremely annoyed and seemed to be invisible to all the other monks in the room. Just then, the pools vanished, and it seemed to the couple as if the sex monk's fun had been ruined.
Oh.
And in fact, his whole mojo seemed to get thrown off. As they said, he looked like he was trying to dematerialize, but he couldn't. He just stood there waving his arms around in angry gestures. Like,
It's
"Come
just
on,
this, like,
get work!
every stand-up comedian when they're bombing on stage is just like, and I'm gone. I disappear. I disappear.
It's kind of like that weird indignant, like, did you ever had that? I remember it was me and Eddie from Roundtable Gentlemen. I think it was you too, Kissel. I'm not sure. Was it Marcus? We were on the 6 train, and we were standing together on a, they got the train opened up, and I forgot what street. It was like the 23rd Street, and there was a homeless man masturbating. And then he looked at us, and he got this, like, God damn it, like this, like, look on his face, and then he just kept trying to masturbate while he was looking at us. It's like the same kind of mad.
Yeah. He literally treated the subway like a vending machine for humans, and then 3 massive dudes came out, and he's like, that is not what I was
Yes, my
talking
love.
about.
Well, I guess when life gives you lemons, you just jerk yourself off all over the inside of your pants.
I suppose.
Well, finally, the monk's powers returned. He dematerialized, and the couple resumed their marital business.
Now spread them, Audrey. Ah, wonderful. A wonderful evening that we have had.
Now, the story of this horny monk was actually immortalized in the
Really?
Lord Byron poem Don Juan.
Really?
Here is an excerpt.
By the marriage bed of their lords 'tis said, he flits on the bridal eve, and 'tis held his fate to their bed of death. He comes, but not to grieve.
He comes to be a ghost cuck and just hang out in the corner while you're having sex with your new wife. Get out! Go.
Well, our next story is called The Naked Five Who Refused to Die.
Man, that's kind of a fucking awesome name. The
It
Naked
is.
Five Who Refuse to Die also sounds like a new version of a Grindhouse World War II movie.
Yeah, I like this title a lot. Tarantino could do something with it.
Oh, without a doubt.
Or actually, Rodriguez. I like Rodriguez's Grindhouse better.
Yeah, I like Rodriguez's Grindhouse a hell of a lot better. Planet Terror was fucking amazing.
It's awesome, yeah.
Now, this story takes place not in the privacy of the bedroom, but rather in the open air of Trafalgar Square.
What are we going to call the square? Like Henson Square?
Trafalgar!
What was that?
Trafalgar!
Trafalgar?
It's the first sound that a king makes when he stubs his toe. He wakes up in the morning. Trafalgar!
Trafalgar? All right.
In December of 1990, a woman named Margaret Denning was waiting alone in the deserted square for her boyfriend to come pick her up from a party. And as she stood there in the cold, she saw in the distance what appeared to be 5 naked men dancing and yelling with joy, not the least bit affected by the December temperatures.
Now, how do we know that this is not Red Hot Chili Peppers?
We don't. Yes, I was thinking also that like the Hare Krishnas have really taken it to the next level.
Well, the 5 naked men's attentions turned to Margaret, and they started dancing around her in a circle, cheering and hooting.
If 5 men that are naked start dancing around you in a circle, you are allowed to tug, pull, punch. You can do whatever you want to them to have them stop dancing around you.
Now, 2 of them even started taunting Margaret with their junk, waving it in her general direction. And this was Margaret's limit, who, not surprisingly, didn't exactly enjoy 5 naked strangers dancing around her in a circle and yelling. She took a pointed comb out of her purse and stabbed at the men's genitals again and again, who, to her surprise, were not the least bit bothered.
Give it away, give it away, give it away now. Give it away, give it away, give it away now. They keep saying the same thing over and over again, and none of them have talent.
Well, just then, Margaret heard her boyfriend call her name. She turned her head to look, and when she turned back around, she saw the naked men slowly fade away.
I just picture like their bodies slowly fade away, but their dicks are the last thing to fade away. And then it's just kind of weird. You know?
Flap, 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 flap. It just looks like a bunch of bananas hanging on a clothesline.
Yeah. Just a deleted, just a Disney scene when they first draw it, because there's all those dicks in all the Disney movies, and I think they start with the cocks and draw around them.
If we make a whole movie about mermaids, it'll be easy to put dicks in because coral looks like dicks. Good work, Greg.
Now, there can really only be one explanation for the 5 naked men. Back in the 15th century, 5 young men stood on the gallows not too far away from where Margaret had been waiting. This was in the days of the public execution, when hangings and the like were really the only entertainment the poor could afford, as it was provided by the state free of charge for every man, woman, and child to watch.
I can't wait for it to come back.
Yeah. Do you think that the hangman came up to them and be like, "You're about to be hung," and then one of the guys was like, "I already am," and then he was Matthew McConaughey?
All right. And then the guy just cut his dick off. They just threw it to the crowd, and they batted it back and forth like it was a fucking cat toy because everybody was a savage.
Yeah. Well, that was a Desperate Living, a John Waters film. There was a penis cutting off scene, and I believe a dog did end up using that as a chew toy.
Yep. Desperate Living, my favorite John Waters movie.
It's one of the best.
Absolutely. Well, not only were executions free to the public, but as we shall soon see, one could actually gain something from attending a public execution. So the 5 men were said to have conspired together to commit a murder, but they maintained they were innocent, saying exonerating evidence had been discovered and a reprieve was on its way. All they had to do was wait just a few more minutes. But of course, the crowd wasn't interested in justice, as they had come to see a hanging, and a hanging was what they were going to see, especially 5 at once, which had to be a treat.
It really did. That had to be fun. Kind of like seeing the 98 Degrees back in the day.
Oh, yes. I think there was only 3 of them, though.
I doubt that. You gotta have 5. You have to have a pentatet to do a boy group.
Well, a clergyman tried to calm down the crowd, saying, "Please just wait 5 more minutes." But the people, being no more patient 500 years ago than they are today, refused to back down.
It's pronounced Oregon. It's pronounced Oregon.
You guys are caught up on this Oregon thing.
It's pronounced Oregon.
Who cares?
It's pronounced Oregon.
It's Oregon. Apparently I say this right, but I just stumbled upon saying
How
it
do you say
properly.
Oregon?
Oregon.
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 I think it's pronounced Oregon.
I don't even know. We'll go next time we're there. We'll figure it out.
So to prevent a riot and possibly his own murder should things get really out of hand, the clergyman gave in and the hangman did his duty. The men were then stripped naked and their clothes were thrown out into the crowd, as was the custom at the time.
Oh, so it was like a thrift store.
Yeah, but it's a dead man's. It's still a dead man's clothes, but you had just seen him die.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
But you got, dude, that's fresh. That's brand new. That's not like, because even in the thrift store, you know they're coming from dead people.
They're not taking off the dead body. They're on the alive body and then the strip naked, but then they're dead.
Yeah.
So that's an alive person's clothes.
No, that's like,
I think they got to be wearing them when dead.
No. You get it right before. That's like farm to table. You know what I mean? It's snout to hoof.
That's a tough one, actually. I think if you're wearing it while you were alive, you take it off while you were alive, but then you die, that's an alive person's clothes.
I guess you're kind of
It
right.
technically is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, I will mark that as a victory.
Well, after the hanging, but before the second act of quartering the bodies was about to begin, in which they butchered the men in public for the crowd's amusement, a writer appeared with a message.
Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone, wait. Wait, hello, am I late?
Little late.
Oh, Trafalgar, I can't believe I fucked this up.
Yeah. It's named after when the king stubs his toe. Did you know that?
Trafalgar!
Trafalgar.
So sure enough, the boys had been reprieved, and the minister angrily read the message out loud to make the crowd feel at least a little bit bad that they had forced him to hang 5 innocent men.
Look what you did. Look what you all did.
It's got to be such a strange feeling.
But as he was reading it, 5 ghostly figures rose from the dead bodies of the naked men. The hangman tried to get the crowd to throw back the clothes to at least give the ghosts a little dignity back, but all he got for his troubles was a chorus of fuck-offs from the assembled rabble.
Wow.
Now, the ghosts didn't appear to realize they were actually, in fact, ghosts. A couple were even a little pissed that the crowd wouldn't give back their clothes, but for the most part, the ghosts were all jumping for joy, thinking that they had cheated death.
What I got, you got to give it to your mama. What I got, you got to give it to your papa. What I've got, you got to give it to your daughter.
Giving away everything there. It's a fire sale. The Red Hot Chili Peppers fire sale. Giving it all away.
The ghost then ran off, naked as anything, as the crowd stood and stared. And over the next 300 years, the 5 naked men were seen from time to time in this general area, but the sightings had ended around the 1700s. It seems as if the only person who has seen them since then, or at least the only person who talked about it, was Margaret Denning on that cold December night in 1990.
And I'll tell you what, and I've said it to my boyfriend, and I'll say it again. I'll always remember the dicks.
Well, at least they get to be with each other.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, they're all buddies and
Yeah.
just because who wouldn't want, I mean, how much would you love it if the 3 of us, for the rest of eternity, naked together, running around New York City, just screaming and yelling?
Yeah.
Well, you know, what is life? And technically, we've been recorded, so we are together forever and ever and ever, even when we all die.
It's true.
Well, that's at least until a gigantic electromagnetic pulse wipes out every single computer on Earth, and, you know, we're
Hold on a
just
second.
lost to the ages.
You're not backing all these up with cassette tape?
No.
What are we even doing here?
Well, I hear now I have a 12-year-old solemnly at work carving our words into papyrus as we speak.
Well, our next story comes again from London in the mid-1700s, although whether it's of a sexual nature or not is up for debate. This one is called The Ghosts Who Broke Wind.
Now, you made this section.
No, I did not make it. I did not make it
actually, the
sexual.
internet made this sexual.
No, not the internet made it. It's Colin Waters, who wrote The Pregnant Ghost and other sexual hauntings, made it sexual because he included a story called The Ghosts Who Broke Wind in his book about sexual hauntings.
So now, when Colin Waters, is that his name?
Colin Waters.
Colin Waters?
Colin Waters.
Colin Waters. When he was writing this book, and like, let's say he has a wife or a girlfriend, and she's like, you know, they're late. He's late for their first anniversary dinner, and she starts knocking on the door, and he's like, "Not now! I'm in the middle of The Ghost Who Broke Wind. If you bother me again, Wendy, it's over." It just seems like a difficult book for an author to complain about being interrupted while writing.
And I also found out, did you read his follow-up book?
No.
The Erotic Tales of Brazilians Farting on Cakes? He can't even get out of a men's bathroom at an airport.
Buying a birthday cake from a Brazilian baker, and it's a perfect cake. He's like, oh, not done yet. Here it is. A little fart for every cake.
So in 1750, a man bought a building which had been vacant for many years on St. James Street. As soon as tenants moved in, the phantom farts began. The entire building was plagued with the smells of rotten eggs, rotten cabbage, and quote-unquote sulfurous fumes.
I just think that's what it would smell like if you lit a candle that just was called 1750.
Yeah, most likely.
Well, it wasn't just a smell. All throughout the house, the sounds of flatulence could be heard day and night.
I'm just going to say that's kind of fun. That is kind of fun.
It is cute. It's cute.
Now, the house was already old in 1750, and the owner figured that maybe he could at least do something about the smell. So he tore out all the wood paneling and treated the inside walls with quicklime. But that only made things worse, as now they were seeing actual ghosts floating, farting, and silently laughing to themselves, competing to see who could fart the loudest.
It seems like it would make for a very fun 1750 Glade plug-in commercial, where it's like, sea breeze.
It does seem like an Adam Sandler period piece.
Yeah.
But it would still shoot in Hawaii so he could wear his cargo shorts every single day.
Every day.
You can see that the ghost with cargo shorts.
That's my Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler, by the way, I learned this yesterday, is still the third highest paid actor. He made roughly $60 million last year.
That's incredible.
Thank you for donating to our Patreon. We love every single one of you.
Well, the owner decided that there was nothing he could do about the farts, so he flipped and reversed the whole situation, renting out the rooms to people looking for a night of laughs, showcasing what came to be known locally as the Blashing Ghosts.
This is just for Colin Waters. This is all that he wants. He thinks that this is the sexiest, naughtiest thing in the world. He's like, for laughs, yeah, for laughs. Meanwhile, he's just walking through there with his mouth open like a whale shark, trying to get as much ghost shit particles in his mouth as he can.
But unfortunately, this didn't exactly gain the owner repeat business, as the novelty of trying to sleep in a room full of farts wore off pretty fast.
Now tell me one thing, Greg. Why did you think for a second that this was going to help heal our marriage? Why did you think? I just think, babe, you just are so serious all the time, babe. It's just that this is what you think of me.
No, eventually, the owner was forced to sell at a greatly reduced price.
Oh, come on.
And every owner thereafter thought they had the solution to fix the farts, but all were unsuccessful. One young man who stayed in the house said he, on the regular, saw a ghost peeking over the bottom of his bed while it farted, trying to gauge the guy's reaction.
This is kind of cute. It's fun. They should have gotten little dogs in there. That would have really put it over the edge.
Today's sponsor for Last Podcast on the Left is Texture. Wouldn't it be great to be able to read all your favorite magazines at a moment's notice? Introducing Texture, the app that lets you read all the latest news and culture magazines like Vanity Fair, New York Magazine, Interview, and tons more right on your tablet or phone, anytime, anywhere. Texture also features some of the most trustworthy, credible publications in the world, such as Time Magazine, The New Yorker, Vanity Fair, The Atlantic, and many others. Texture gives you access not just to your favorite magazines, but also the latest in investigative journalism, U.S. politics, and domestic and international news. The Texture app has gone beyond delivering just the magazine itself. They've made it easy to find and enjoy the articles you want to read with daily recommendations, exclusive interactive features, videos, and more. Texture makes magazines easy, and there are so many great ones out there. The one I was surprised to find was Texas Monthly. I love Texas Monthly. I've been reading it half my life, and the thing is about that magazine, it's not just news about Texas. They actually have amazing true crime journalism. Specifically, this guy, Skip Hollandsworth, who we've actually used as a source here on Last Podcast on the Left. Texture is searchable. You can mark what you like, check out back issues, view bonus video content, and they even curate articles and magazines just for you or whoever you're giving Texture to this year. Texture is normally $9.99 a month, and you get over 200 magazines. But if you sign up right now at Texture.com/lastpodcast, you get a 14-day free trial. That's 14 days to try Texture for free when you go to Texture.com/lastpodcast. That's Texture.com/lastpodcast. Now, our next story takes place on the outskirts of Grimsby in the year 1700. It all started when the widow of a farmer complained that the fire in her cottage had started to blow back down the chimney, whatever that means. Do you know what that means?
What is it?
Do not know.
What was the statement?
The fire in her cottage had started to blow back down her chimney.
I don't think she opened the flue.
No, well, I don't think she had a flue. Did they have a flue?
You got to have a flue, otherwise everything comes through.
You have to have a flue.
That's the whole
It
point of
sounds
the
like
flue.
the feeling I was getting when my gumbo started growing.
His gumbo being his hemorrhoid.
I know.
Well, maybe the listeners don't know.
I don't know if they want to know.
Well, a local chimney sweep was called in to see if maybe some dislodged bricks were causing the problem. But in the process of rooting around, the chimney sweep dislodged something else altogether. As he was cleaning, he managed to get his sweep stuck up in there. And unable to get it loose himself, the sweep called in 3 townsfolk to help him pry it free. And after trying unsuccessfully for 5 minutes, whatever force was holding the broom in place suddenly let loose. And it was so sudden that the man who was pulling the hardest flew back and hit the back of his head against the wall so hard he cracked open his skull and was killed instantly. The room was then filled with soot, and a swirling light circled around in the air. Then, a huge mass of green gelatinous goo oozed out of the fireplace and wrapped itself around the widow's face, who fell to the floor and started convulsing.
Oh my goodness. Is this like a weird prequel to Mary Poppins?
It does feel like a Ghostbusters too.
Yeah. Seems like being a chimney sweep was quite an exciting job back in the day.
I mean, if there's some green gelatinous goo involved.
No.
No?
No.
What do you mean? You get to be a coal miner, but like in someone's living room.
That's awful. Yeah, that's the worst. In coal miner, at least you have the camaraderie of the other men. You've got the solitude of rock. There, you just got a shrieking widow while you're getting soot all over everything, and she's hitting you with a rolling pin.
I guess.
You're constantly dirty.
That is one way to. You should have been there for the Chilean miners. Great movie, by the way. I actually watched. You'd be like, at least you have the solitude of rock. They would have loved that reassurance.
Well, 2 pieces of the goo then broke off from the main mass, stripped the 3 men nude except for their boots and belts, and glommed onto their genitals.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
Sort
it's
of
like if the movie what is it with
Flubber? You're
Robin
thinking of
Williams,
Flubber.
If Flubber was making sex toys, that is fun.
Yeah, kind of a.
Well, other townsfolk who heard the screams opened the door to find that the woman's entire face had been eaten down to the bone, although her hair was completely unharmed, and the men's genitals had suffered the same fate.
Whoa!
And the only...
But were the bush hairs were fine though?
I'm assuming that the bush hairs
what it
were still
means?
there. If they left the woman's hair, then presumably they left the bush hair intact on the men as
I
well.
see.
At least I'm presuming that.
I would assume so. They're not hair ghosts, I guess.
If we were scientists, we would agree with ourselves. You know what I mean? If that is a science, scientists would say that as well.
The only survivor was the chimney sweep, but he'd been badly injured in the fracas and died just a few weeks later. All of this comes from the mouth of the chimney sweep.
Oh, and you can always trust someone who speaks and then spits a bunch of black stuff out of their mouth and then speaks again.
Oh, sometimes I'm impromptu dense, but I won't right now because I feel no joy because something bit my fucking dick off.
Oh, classic chimney sweep. I really wish we could go to a tavern during this time and just hear the fun stories.
Oh, yeah. Well, every surface of the house had been covered in greenish soot that smelled like rotten eggs. Every surface, that is, except for the fireplace, which was pristinely clean, as if it had just been built. And the family who moved in after the widow had a hell of a time as well. Not too long after their arrival, they started hearing a voice coming down from the chimney saying vile things about the woman of the house.
You've got bad shoes and you don't have a sense of humor. You're a bad driver. You liked Iron Fist on Netflix. You disgusting woman.
Chimney ghost cuts deep.
Well, the husband decided he was going to camp out on the roof to see who was, quote-unquote, playing the devil's jest. But when the wife awoke the next morning, she found her husband lying on the ground wearing only belt and shoes, just like the 3 men before. And just like the 3 before him, his genitals had been burned away, leaving only his pubic hair.
No!
Oh my goodness.
That is just sort of like putting a clown wig on the ground zero.
Yeah, not good.
It's just a clown wig on a
tragedy.
God.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
Well, our last story takes place at Jedburgh Castle in October of the year of our Lord, 1285, during the wedding of Alexander III of Scotland. This was King Alexander's second marriage, as his first wife had failed to produce an heir, and he figured he'd give it another go.
And so they peacefully divorced, and she was allowed to live peacefully, right? And like lived a life of just like normalcy, right? Or
I believe that her head was in a basket towards the end of their marriage.
Yeah, I mean, the wedding really didn't make a lot of people in Scotland happy. They didn't agree with divorce and thought the king should come up with some other line of succession. And Alexander's astrologers, every single one of them, said that the stars were not aligned in such a way that October would be a good month for marriage.
And if you can't trust a king's astrologer, who can you trust?
But being a king, Alexander went ahead regardless. So at the reception following the wedding, as the king and queen were dancing, a near-naked man, appearing every bit to be a corpse, wandered onto the dance floor with a raging erection.
Hold on just 1 second here. Who invited Iggy Pop? Who invited Iggy Pop to this wedding? I want to know now.
Oh, I didn't get an invitation.
Say, does anybody have any peanut butter? It's not that I want a spirit of my body, but not for a performance. It's that I love collecting birds. That's what I've been trying to do. Iggy Pop, writhing bird feeder.
Now, most of the other people dancing thought that this was all a part of the celebration. Perhaps the start of some fancy show.
I don't know.
It sounds like a start of a fancy show.
It's now time to play erotic horseshoes with the nude boy from down the way.
But once the king looked across the hall and noticed a dead man with a boner walking towards him, everything came to a screeching halt.
Uh-oh.
It was only when the guards approached the naked man that they realized he was indeed dead. And as soon as they grabbed at him, the dead man disintegrated into a pile of dust. And this was generally accepted as a bad sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sure enough, only a few months later, Alexander III was dead, having been thrown from his horse over a cliff.
Nature.
Yes, nature. But he also seemed to have. I think he came from the Scottish town of Segway. Sort of like how he.
Yes.
Now, it was days before his body was recovered, and it was said that when King Alexander was found, he was sporting a huge erection, just like the dead man who had appeared months earlier at his wedding feast.
I'll tell you what. That'll happen.
That'll happen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is. Henry reminded me of that hilarious the guy who bought Segway. He didn't create Segway.
No,
he bought Segway and then just right off a cliff. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's sexy ghost part
Sexy
2.
go. And that last story does have some roots in reality because they call it angel lust because sometimes a dead penis, will become engorged with blood and will become rigid.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks.
That's just how it goes.
That's how it goes. What do we got to do here? We're going to be, this will come out right now, this week, so
this
we're
will
going to be in Canada.
Yeah, we're going to be in Canada. If you're listening to this the day that it comes out, we're going to be in Vancouver that night, so be sure to get your tickets for that.
Yep.
And we're going to be in we're going to be in Calgary this Friday, August 25th. And I know we got a lot of people coming out for that. Drive on down. I know that we've had some people that are, because apparently Canada is quite spread out.
It's huge.
It's very large.
It's very
And so,
big.
Yes.
Yeah, come on out.
very, very big.
Make the drive down. We promise it'll be worth it. We got a bunch of other live shows coming up. Go to patreon.com to see all the live show dates.
Do we know, Marcus, I don't know if we've talked to the venues or not. Is there validation for sled parking, or is it just cars?
There is.
I think it's just cars.
Oh, yeah. That's not right.
And thanks to everyone who gave to our Patreon
Yes,
and
thank
who
you.
is currently giving to our Patreon, as Patreon works. Go to patreon.com/lastpodcast on the left to give, and you get a bunch of cool shit in return. And we've got a big announcement coming up next week. We got some new shit coming out. We've got a whole new bugaboo happening here at the Podcast Palace. So look out for that next week. We got a big announcement. We can't wait to unveil what we've been working on. And of course, as always, thanks everyone for listening.
Absolutely. And when he says Podcast Palace, I'm looking at a white brick wall, and then there is a burnt doll.
Yes.
So what a palace it is. What a palace it is.
What a palace. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Henry Loves You, at Marcus Parks, at Ben Kissel. Follow us on Instagram at Dr. Fantasy, at Marcus Parks, at Ben Kissel, the #1. And also follow Last Podcast on the Left on all of the bullshits at LP on the Left.
That's it.
And I do have some people that did rate and review us on iTunes, 5 stars, that have said Henry sent me on here.
Nice.
And I will just randomly just say their names. I don't know what this even means. Jess Thom _NM.
Thank
Big
you.
Jim 1120. A lot of controversial views on Big Jims.
Oh, okay.
Hobie79 says, what's going on? Queenie Mom said Henry sent me. What's going on, you fuckers? LJ for this app.
There it is.
So...
That's it. I want to give a personal thank you to everyone who has been supporting me when I go on this Fox News Radio. The live stream has been filled with all of you, which is hilarious because it's a bunch of very shocked Fox News listeners when our listeners get on there and start commenting. But that was a really great motivation for me, especially with this whole last week with neo-Nazis and all that stuff. Your support really helped me get through having to talk to white nationalists on the telephone.
Controversial week.
It was.
Controversial opinions from Ben Kissel. Nazis are bad.
Right, controversial opinion.
that is so controversial. I just think you're so brave saying Nazis are bad.
I didn't think I was brave, and now I find I might be. So thank you all so much. The community is just incredible, and I'm so happy that we're all kind of growing together and doing our thing. So check out Abe Lincoln's Top Hat for everything political, sex, and other human activities. Movie Sign with the Mad.
Yep.
Someone says it's Movie Sign with the Mad. So that's what it is. I know that. I don't know. Maybe I was calling it Movie Signs with the Mad. Who cares? But anyway, Movie Sign with the Mad. Round Table of Gentlemen.
With the Mads.
With the Mads.
You said mad.
I'm taking all the yeses out.
You're turning into my mom. My mom has always been like, you gotta go see that Batman's. Like, it's always like the Batman's and adding the R to shit.
Yeah. I know that. So just all the shows. Thank you all so much for supporting. And I'll give a hail yourselves.
And I'm going to give you a hail Geen.
Hail Satan. Please, please, hail him these days. And hail me at the very end of all of it. Because who does the work here for Satan? It's me.
I don't think you do any work for Satan.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I don't think that Satan knows that you exist because he's not, like, real and it's all fake.
Yeah. No, we're all just McDonald's franchises of Satan everywhere.
Oh, I see. Yes, and of course, Magustalations. I want to spend a Skeleton Jack 86 on Instagram as well. He made that Hail Yourself tattoo, which is absolutely beautiful. So shout outs to you, Skeleton Jack, and go check out his YouTube page. All right, Magustalations. All right, let's do the Patreon shout-outs, shall we?
We shall.
Thanks, everyone, for donating. We really appreciate it. Hail yourselves. You guys are amazing, and you make all this happen. Okay, I'll start. Courtney Chambers. Thank you, Courtney. That's a pledge for 50 bones. That's a lot of money. Thank you, Courtney. We really appreciate it. Michael Hubbard. We appreciate even $1.
Even $1,
yeah. Craig Young.
Even $1.
Even $1. Michael Hubbard. Craig Young. Molly Hollinger. Kelsey. Aisha Crockett. Matt Smith with the tiny dick. Oh, my goodness gracious. Kind of braggadocious there. Larissa Bailey. Kelsey Hooper. Captain Ahab. Kristen Malachinsky. Amanda Lee White. John Miller. Faith Ledbetter. Brian Ernst. Ryan Marks. Liam Isaac. Chris Winchell. Sandrine Purine. Jordan. Ed. Oda. Kara CM. Anna Turner. And Edward Bowman. Thank you all so much.
Danielle, Jeremy Moffat, Brian S. Redkirk, Julie Norcross, Ryan Alexander, Maggie Steinbacher, Almert Scheichart, Bradley Hutchinson, Heaven Henderson, Melissa Dormady, Dawn Conquest, Jared Flick, that is kind of the sensual, Stu Jefferson, Stu, Jake Mielke, Gemenev, yes, Connor M. Oh, Frankie Murray, Adam, Corey Goodman, Joe Piston, Daniel P. Hines, Audrey Darnell, Eric Warner, Maya Van Horn, Aaron Claxton, Bryce Weinert, Stephanie Menzies, Jameson McDonald, Spud Maloney.
Sounds like a pro wrestler.
Sounds like one of the old-timey fat pitchers. Tyler Matchnick, Derek Smith, Nigel Ewing, Ashley Zavry, Wiley P., Isabel Moreno Garcia, Mike Giravino, GRRB I4H, Dan Patreon, very nice, Noel Steinel, Allison Boyd, Adam Mathewson, Francesca, Greg Williams, Brian Rector, Brian Hitchinski, Alex Gardner, Gabrielle Steinberg, Megan Ruddy, Eric Asaris, Sky Danielle, Joseph Brown, Anthony Limberg, Lauren Macaroni, Christina Ehrman, Carly Cleary, Matt Mastroli, Liz Koenig, Brian Jones, Catherine Rahman, Anna Reibisch, Rob Lawrence.
I got Ben Kleinfelter,
Uh-oh.
Lauren Ludlow, Rebecca Mariaja, Christopher Hopkins, Drew, Robert R. Best, Miss Emily Clare, Andrea Fender, Mary P., Kayla Haran Dimitruk, Bronk Conley, Jacob Ponghetti, Christy Games, Meredith Taylor, Sarah Tierney, Bo Jacobson, Thomas Salter, Sophia Venditti, Zach Koznitsky, Melissa Leeper, Brad Herrick, Harry Murphy, Grace Ann Gill, Kayla Ferris, and Fernando Carrillo. I also got Kate Walsh, Sam Wells, Sarah Wydra, Mary Snedden, Elijah Hawes, Michelle Woods, Benjamin Mattingly, Mad Nobody, Juan Hernandez, Holly Wilcox, Amber, Connor McDermott, Dina Wilkinson Purdue, Lisa Braddock, Allison Bray, Beth Zovko, Brian Weaver, Bree Hayen, Ashley Adams, Patrick Wolf, Sion Hazer, CMG, Kara Teague, Mark Mead, and Rianne Stovall.
I got myself an Erica Toth, Chris Cummins, Jessica Skurlock, Raquel Marie. I am not going to be able to pronounce this. It looks to be Swedish.
Sevrostidir?
It's the third at the bottom. I'm reading the bottom up. Kind of having fun with it.
Sferis daughter.
Short. Shorter. All right, thank you very much. Kristen Westwood, Casey Burish, Brittany Kay, Ivy Assiter, Hibbo Abdi, Christian C. Perez, Jessica Ogin, or Ogween, Daniela Perlotta, Ryan Herbst, Rebecca Cromer, Emma Nuclear Teeth, Nathan, Nick Miller, Lauren Huff, Kyle Robbins, Michael Ellis, Sarah Urchuk, Jake Sowers, Julie Mund, Jared Wimburn, and Andrea Combs. This is it for me. Here we got Alicia Potter, Lisa Kaplan. If it is the Lisa Kaplan who is a comedian currently going through an illness, I wish you the best. If it's not, I wish you the best as well. Cynthia Barreras, Austin Tucker, Cody Crowley, Anthony Butler, Allison O'Donovan, Anthony Porsche, Corey Trankel, Mark Edwards, John, Agata Stepanek, Neil Kerrigan, Sarah Tollison, Emily Sorensen, Kyle Reedman, Alex Turner, Simon Patrick Cantwell, Matt Tyndall, Christy Harding, Ella Tubley, Kathy Escu, Dylan Hollenden, Thorsten Gross, and Kevin Hender. Hail yourselves. Thank you all so much.
Ashley Cooley, Leatris Potter, Emily Willett, Brianna McGinnity, Keegan McClure, Kristen Miguel. Very good. Refreshing to get a Spanish name in there. Corey. Jesse Oliver. Eli Carter. Bungie Blast. Jennifer Mack. Mariah Maskin. Dan Marchiniak. Travis S. Just. Patrick Perring. Brittane Waldman. Beneta. Allison Roberts. Jillian Major. Scott Bird. Tim Watson. We have a Watson here.
Watson.
Emily Stevens. Jen Mormon. Rose Nose. Nairobi Akufo. Nicholas Villalobos. Thorin. Michael Bateman. Drew Baldwin. Nicholas Dew. Gia Guillemette. Genevieve Fernity. Shannon Nicole Rains. Chris Turner Neal. Megan Henkel. Mary Salaman. Dustin Wadsworth. Hannah Richards Butler. Very classy name. Scroats Mahone. Opposite.
Scroats Mahone, yeah.
Is short for Scrotifer. Devin Eschpeter. Amanda Horn. Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar he gave $5. You could give more than that. We know what you do. Michael